The most powerful workforce in human history is rising, and it doesn't need you. It doesn't sleep, it doesn't eat, it doesn't ask for a raise, and it's coming for every job you thought was safe. Yes, doctors, lawyers, coders, and even entrepreneurs. But here's the really terrifying part. Losing your job is just the beginning. These AI agents aren't just replacing workers, they're about to reshape the entire global economy. They'll hire each other, they'll pay each other, they'll make decisions faster than any human can react. The systems we've trusted for centuries, they're not built for this. They're about to break. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how AI agents will trigger the biggest economic shift in human history and reveal the one thing that's perfectly positioned to survive the chaos and what we should be doing to position ourselves. Now, real quick, I'm Mark Moss, and as an investor, I've built and I've exited several tech companies. I've been doing this through multiple boom and bust markets. I've been a tech-focused venture capital investor for over a decade. I'm a partner at a leading Bitcoin venture fund. I write the Quantum Wave Investment Report, where I help people navigate these big shifts in tech and money. And these lessons are some of the things that I'm looking at, and hopefully you can use these. So let's go. All right, we are talking about something super exciting for me. It's also super terrifying. Depends on how you interpret this information. More importantly, what you're going to do with it. Don't worry, at the end, I'm gonna leave you with some actionable takeaways so you can make this exciting for you as well. Okay, so I'm talking about the rise of AI agents. What? AI agents? Now, this is happening super fast, so if you're not paying attention, you might have missed what's going on. We have AI, right, that kind of got brought to the forefront, brought to consumers with OpenAI back in November 2022, and now it's changed the world. Now we have something called AI agents. I'm going to break this all down for you and see what, so you can understand what it is. But we can say that the AI agent market is absolutely exploding. Let me tell you what this is. So it's basically a way that I can create an AI to be an autonomous agent on my behalf to do a predefined set of tasks. So, for example, I could create an AI agent to do my customer service for me, or handle my sales calls for me, or go research financial markets for me. So I give it a set of parameters and I just let it go, and it works autonomously based off of that code. This is what AI agents do. Now, these can do complex things that stack on top of each other, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll get back to that in a minute. But again, this is happening super, super fast, like in the last 6 months fast. So we can see here, 2024, there was barely any market. By 2030, they're expecting it to grow to 47.1 times. This is the market size in billions. We're talking about it growing super fast. And all the big people are in this, of course, Google, IBM, Microsoft, Amazon, you get it, okay? Now, this is all happening really fast. Now, this is projected to grow even faster and faster and faster. So you can see AI agents market right here. And you can see we're right here, 2025 right now. And this is what we call parabolic growth. We're at about 5.29 billion right now, and they're expecting it to grow at a 40% compounded annual growth rate, CAGR, until 2035 to about a value of 216 billion. I'm guessing we're gonna overshoot that number, but you can still see the type of growth that they're projecting. These AI agents are coming for everything. So when I say coming for everything, what are they coming for? Well, everything. But right now what we can see is that the type of agent systems is we have like multi-agent and single agent. So single agents working together to become multi-agents to do multiple things. So for example, they could do all the search engine optimization. They could do niche research for me. They could write articles for me. They can create ads. Then they can go buy the ads on Facebook Marketplace. So they could string multiple agents together to do this complex thing. The areas of application that we're really seeing right now, just in the last couple of months, but this is going to change: customer service, virtual assistants, healthcare, the type of roles that the agents are being assigned to, code generation, so they're writing code at a super rapid rate. As a matter of fact, another 6 months from now, coders are going to be looking for new jobs. Customer service reps, marketing, some of the things like I just sort of talked about, productivity and personal assistance, and sales. These are the types of things that are under attack right now. Types of learning, deep learning, machine learning, and the types of products is build your own agents and ready to deploy agents. So we're going to show you a couple ways that you can do this, where you can build your own, or you can go with companies that already have this. But look, this is a ticking clock. This is all happening right now. The world is changing right below our feet, and I think it's exciting, but for people that are listed in those categories right there, it can be extremely terrifying. Now we can see that AI implementation is a top priority, the number one top priority across marketing and e-commerce teams. So for e-com, it can do all the product research, it can get requests for quotes from all your vendors, it can manage shipments, it could get your listings done, it can handle the customer service on the web, everything. So it's a top priority for these companies. AI has proven contribution to revenue and cost reduction. So it's a proven contributor to revenue, bringing in more money, and reducing costs at the same time. Of course, businesses want that. AI implementation is their number one priority. 83%, it's a big number, 83% of sales teams with AI saw revenue growth in the past year. So pretty much everybody who tried it made more money. More people want to do it. Versus 66% of teams without AI. Competition. Right? 76% of e-commerce teams with AI credit it with revenue growth. 76% of people who used it made more money. 92% of service teams with AI say it reduces their costs. So saving money, making money, it's all the same thing. If 92% of the people are getting that, guess what? Everybody is going to want it. And not just AI, as in ChatGPT, but AI agents. Now we have all these companies jumping into this game to build AI agents. This is Salesforce introducing Agent Force 2.0, the digital labor platform for building a what? Limitless workforce. So now Salesforce, that's powered your customer contact base, your CRM, now they want to give you agents to replace all those people that work in your company. Pretty cool, right? Well, it is if you're a business owner. It's not so good if those are your jobs being outsourced. But I have bad news for you. Even if you're a business owner, you might still be at risk. I'm going to break that down. What we're really seeing, though, you have to understand this. I talk a lot about tech cycles, technology cycles, because when you go back through thousands of years of history, it's always technology that changes the world because it changes the way that we work, the way that we organize, the way that we communicate, and so then it changes the world. And so what we've seen is technology changing the world, and we saw the rise and the fall of the knowledge industry. So what happened about 250 years ago was the Industrial Revolution. Now, we had people in the farms and the cottage industry, and the Industrial Revolution represented the first time we had mechanized machines that could do the work of thousands of men. And then we went on to do more machines. We got steel, heavy equipment, electricity, automobiles, mass production. So we had this industrial age. And during the industrial age, especially in America in the early 1900s to mid 1900s, we became this industrial powerhouse. Our factories and our ingenuity dominated the world. Of course, other countries industrialized as well. But then something happened. We went from the industrial age, where we had this massive middle class because we had this assembly line. And everybody on the assembly line was pretty equal. Very smart people and not so smart people were equal, each putting their cog on a wheel. Now, a lot of people would say that the reason why the middle class is kind of gone today, or shrunk at least, is because those jobs have been outsourced to like China, for example. Now, part of that is true, but I would argue that it's because we went from the industrial age to the information age. You see, working in factories and putting cogs on a wheel is not what it used to be. And today, we're on the information age. So now we're building computer programs and software and microchips. And we have people with laptops traveling the world, making money online. And now with AI, we've gone from the industrial age to the knowledge worker age, the information age. And then the information age is, well, if you're smarter, if you're more creative, if you work harder longer, you can get ahead faster because you're not just putting a cog in a wheel 8 to 5. All right, now, we can see that as we went from the industrial age to the information age, society changed, of course, because it changed the way that we work. Instead of everybody being in big communities and all working together and all being on the union, now we have digital nomads working on their laptops all around the world. So it changes societies. And what's happened, part of that is because now if I can be a knowledge worker, then I can have specialty skill, and I can take that specialty skill and I can apply it anywhere I want. So I could be a graphic designer or a video editor or even a bookkeeper, and I can provide those bookkeeping and graphic design video editing services for multiple people at the same time. And this created the gig economy. You might have heard about it. This also includes Airbnb hosts and Uber drivers and things like that. And the gig economy has completely exploded under this information age. As a matter of fact, you can see it from 2012, basically non-existence, all the way till, this is only till 2021. Right now, it's like way up here. But you can see the rise and the growth of this. Now, one of the things that this was amazing for was bringing workers from all over the world into the global workforce. So I use a website called Upwork.com. There's other ones like Freelancer.com or Fiverr. And basically, any of these tasks that you need done, these soft tasks, these specialty skills, copywriting, ghostwriting, research, legal work, accounting, you name it, I can go hire somebody from anywhere in the world to do this job for me. And so what it did is it brought what we call technical workers onto the workforce. So maybe you're a coder from Islamabad, or you're an engineer from Pakistan, or you're a customer service rep from the Philippines, or you're whatever. It brought all these technical workers into the world, and it created this giant gig economy. Of course, it's not just all over the world, it's in the United States as well. Data shows that the global gig economy now accounts for 12% of the global market. Hasn't taken it over yet, but we're since 2012, right? This is happening really fast. More than 1/3 of the U.S. workforce is now engaged in some form of gig work, and they project that to be half by 2025. That's this year. Half of the workforce in the United States will be working on some type of gig. 40% of organizations, 1 in 4 workers on the payroll is a gig worker. 25% of companies' payrolls are for gig workers. Now, I want to just reiterate the point one time. What is a gig worker? They're like a trade. They apply expertise. They have a skill, video editing, graphic design, copywriting, research. They have a skill, and they can apply it to different people. That's their applied expertise. Like I said, about half the workers there. Now, we can see why this is continuing to grow when you break it down by age group. So we have baby boomers right here. Only 9% of them are gig workers. Gen X, 27%. But right here, we have the millennials, 45%. So of course, as we start getting to these younger generations, we'll have more and more people working in gig work. So it's both a technology thing, it's a societal thing, and it's an age thing. But here's the key. The key is that these are people with trades, with specialty skills that they can apply, and those skills are under threat, because it's those specialty skills that are going to be the first to be outsourced. Let me explain this to you. When I hire somebody on Fiverr or Upwork to do a task for me, they're an autonomous agent. I'm hiring this person on Fiverr or Upwork to go do search engine optimization for me. So they're going to take my article, they're going to go research it, they're going to come up with the best keywords, they're going to rewrite the article, they're going to get it posted, they're going to get the backlinks and all of those things. Well, that's an autonomous person that's doing all of those functions, but today I can have an AI agent built to do that. I can hire customer service people from the Philippines that can reply to my emails or take my phone calls, but now I can have, they're an agent, they're an autonomous person that's doing this based off of scripts I've provided, but I could also just train an AI agent to do the same thing. So the very first people that are going to be disrupted are the typical agents, the gig workers. They're agents, and they're going to be replaced with AI agents. Now, of course, if you have to drive an Uber car, you might be a little bit more safe, except unless if you've seen like Waymo driving around. These are autonomous taxis as well. Okay, and what we're really witnessing is something much bigger than that. Because as big as that is to replace all those agents all across the world, researchers and writers and copywriters and video editors, replace all those agents with AI agents, it's even something bigger. If you're an entrepreneur, watch out. What we're really witnessing is the collapse of scarcity. What do I mean by that? So all value is derived from scarcity and utility. And so when you have scarcity, it increases the value most times. So for example, if I'm a doctor, if I'm an attorney, if I'm a coder, I have information or knowledge that most people just don't have. I went to school for 5 years or 10 years to learn this information. I went to school to learn coding. So I have scarce information most people don't have, and I'm paid a premium for that. But what happens when knowledge is infinite and it's free? Does it lose value? So what we see is that back in the day, the information was the moat. That's why the attorneys and the doctors are able to charge that. But when an AI has way more data and information than any attorney or any doctor, or can write code faster than an encoder, then what happens to that specialty knowledge, the collapse of scarcity? So we can take a couple examples from history. So here's a picture of when scarcity changed, when we went from transportation being done by horses, 1900, to transportation being done by cars, 1913. This is the same street, only 13 years difference, but you don't see a single horse in this picture, nor do you see a single car in that picture. Now we can see how quickly this changed, and we can see here that horses fell off of a cliff while automobiles went up in really rapid time. Now, we use something you might recognize this. I talk about it quite often in technology. We call it an S-curve. The time it takes to get to 10% adoption is about the same time it takes to get to about 80 or 90% adoption. So we can see how quickly this is happening. Now, this time, we're the horses. This time, humans are being replaced with AIs that can write the code, that can drive the cars, and do more. As a matter of fact, let me just show you how well some of this technology works to replacing programmers, for example. Let's watch this short video.
You always wondered why that app didn't exist. Now you can make it. Meet Replit Agent. Want a custom workout plan? Make an app for that. Have a great idea at 2 a.m.? Make an app for that. Need to run an analysis? Or learn with your kids? Make an app for that too. This isn't just making apps. This is your imagination unleashed. Describe what you want and watch it come to life. No coding experience, right from your phone. Made an awesome app? Share it with a friend. Have a business idea? Start in minutes.
Okay, so what you just watched was a company called Replit. You can just go there and you can literally speak into it or type a description of something that you want, and it can just build the app. So for example, I could just say, hey, I'd like a financial management app, or I'd like a stock screening app. And it can just like literally build it for me. And I was like, well, I don't really like it to do that. I'd like to add these features. And then it just adds those features. Like from verbal text, anybody now could create an app, and they're doing it on Replit. Now, what does this mean? What it means is that every moat is destroyed. AI has destroyed it. So think about this. So in a future not too far away, like a year from now, I could literally have an AI agent that I could say, go out and find the top 10 online businesses and come back with a full report. And it's like, okay, like drop shipping is really good, and e-commerce is really good, and Airbnb is really good, and it gives me these reports. And I'm like, cool, just go copy and beat all of them. And that AI agent can now go hire other AI agents to do the research and do the copywriting and do the video editing and come up with the graphics, because now it can make images by itself, and it could do the listings, and it can list the things, and it can run the ads, and it can do all that in a blink of an eye. What happens to every business that we know in the world today? Everyone just gets completely disrupted and upended on a daily basis, over and over and over. What happens to the economy? We're talking about an economic domino effect that we just can't even quite comprehend. In the grand narrative of technological evolution, we are transitioning from the age of information, that's where we were, from industrial age to information age, to now the age of intelligence. I love that. Not just information, everyone has information now. Now we're going to the age of intelligence, and who has that? It's going to reshape society, revolutionize industries, and change the nature of work. So technology always does. It's a transformative shift promising advancements in healthcare, education, productivity. Sounds great. There's always trade-offs. The downside is there's concerns of a large-scale job loss, mental health repercussions, and risk to social stability. So the whole world is going to change, and it's going to change rapidly. Again, we're talking about months to years here. We're not talking about decades at this point any longer, because it's here. Now, look, I'm going to show you what we're going to do about this. Listen, this is not a doom and gloom video. I'm excited. You can probably tell. So hopefully I can get you excited as well. Now, what we're seeing already, and we're going to continue to see rapidly, is the rise of these autonomous economies. Autonomous economies. So this is, again, if you go to Phoenix, Arizona, you have these Waymo taxis driving all over the place. And imagine that taxi is autonomous and it can just drive itself. and it could make money on its own. And it can go get its own service and all these things. And so what we're seeing is autonomous economies where now we have AI agents that can go hire other AI agents. Again, so I task my agent to go duplicate this e-com dropshipping site, for example, and it hires other agents to build the website, another agent to run the Facebook ads, another agent to go get the quotes from China, another agent to manage the logistics and the shipping, another agent, and you get the idea. So I could get one agent that goes and hires the other agents. That's the autonomous economy. Then the agents have to pay the other agents for the services. So now my agent needs the ability to have money and be able to make payments to other agents for the services, and they're paying other agents. When machines run economies, what happens to traditional currencies, banks, and even governments? Now, again, this is not some far off thing. As a matter of fact, it's happening right now today. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. This is a long video. I'm not going to actually show you the video clip of it. We can put it in the show notes down below if you want to watch it. But what we have right here is a Replit AI agent. So what I showed you earlier. So you can use Replit to build yourself an AI agent. So Replit AI agent went out and searched and found a domain name. It found a domain name that fit the criteria, the expertise, and it bought it and paid for it all on its own. It purchases a domain name using Bitcoin over the Lightning Network. Bitcoin will be the currency of AI. So this guy has this video where he shows how he built it, shows the whole transaction. You can watch the video go down from the researching to the domain name to the whole thing to buying it, taking ownership, and then the agent continue to build out the website and everything. So it literally is not, it's literally happening right now. This is not a future thing. This is right now. This is today. Now, what are we expecting from this? Well, we're expecting big things. The market size of transactions among AI agents is expected to be 100 times larger than human transactions. Why would it be 100 times larger? Well, because every individual will probably have 10 or more AI agents. I'll probably have like 100. How many will you have? Now, the transaction frequency among AI agents is going to be 10 times greater than that among humans. So these AI agents are going to be working really, really fast. So not only will I have 10 of them or 20 or 50 or 100 of them, they might be doing 10 or 50, 100 transactions a day each. So we're talking about something really, really massive. I mean, this is all, again, this is happening right now. But here's the problem. How much does this cost? If I have an AI agent, right, if I want to hire a customer service person in the Philippines, I might pay them $6 to $8 an hour. If I want to hire a coder in Pakistan, I might pay them $9 to $14 an hour, right? If I want to hire a legal researcher in Europe and Eastern Europe, maybe I pay them $15 to $25 an hour. But how much does it cost for me to have an AI agent hire another AI agent? Will they charge more based off of their expertise? How much will they charge? Well, they're going to be charging the cost, well, to cover their costs. Well, what are their costs? Well, I guess one, to program the agent. But number two, it's the cost of their power, their electricity, and the compute, the CPU, the GPU. Compute energy will be the cost that they're going to have to pay. But here's the problem. Our traditional financial system that we have today is not set up to do this. It will not work for what these are doing. And it's not a future thing. This is right now today. As I just showed you, an AI agent just went and bought a domain with Bitcoin Lightning right now. But it can't work with the traditional financial system because the traditional financial system has it's just too archaic. Let's just say that. Way too much friction. So for example, the current fiat and KYC, which is Know Your Customer systems, are designed for humans, inherently excluding AI agents. So in order to get a bank account, a debit card, a credit card, a Venmo account, you have to be a human and you have to pass KYC and AML regulations. It's set up specifically to not allow agents to have that. However, the stringent KYC, the Know Your Customer requirements, and fiat systems inherently exclude AI agents. So AI agents can't work in the traditional financial system, but it's here. They're changing the world. There's no stopping it. So then what happens? Like I said, there's so much friction. What kind of friction? Well, we can see here. Financial service is built on the assumption that there's an accountable, legally recognized human, or at least a corporate entity behind every transaction. Who's liable, right? As an AI agent operates independently, it doesn't easily fit into these frameworks, making compliance both technically challenging and legally uncertain. Who are we going to sue? Who's liable? A solution that sidesteps the limitations of traditional finance while addressing security is, of course, Bitcoin. So we can sidestep this. Now, there's a couple things that we can think about here. Why not credit cards, Mark? Well, the credit card system simply isn't built for machine-to-machine payments. It's riddled with inefficiencies, high transaction fees, and privacy compliance issues. It's unsuitable for autonomous agents. You may not know this, but it's pretty much impossible to send somebody somewhere else in the world like 35 cents. Transactions cost more than that. Now, what happens when these AI agents are making these microtransactions when they're doing so 100 times a day or 1,000 times a day? That $50 or $100 could get eaten up in fees with 100 or 1,000 transactions back and forth. It's unsuitable. There's no compliance. There's no liability or legality there. Furthermore, blockchain transparency and immutability, the immutability of this blockchain, meaning once I make the transaction, I can't be charged back, offer a unique advantage. Every transaction executed by the AI is recorded on chain. So now we have a transparent layer, then we can see all the transactions that are happening. This makes crypto wallets a suitable infrastructure for autonomous agents in the finance world, meaning it's the only way. You have to understand that as technology changes, it doesn't stop. It doesn't wait for things to change. Technology is what changes things. Back in the gunpowder revolution in the 1500s, all of a sudden it changed the balance of power where one person, one serf with a gun, could take out 100 knights. And when the gunpowder revolution started sweeping across the world, it wasn't like a nice to have. It wasn't like, well, maybe I'll have guns or I won't. It was like, you better have it. It's what changed the world. It didn't wait for things, and the AI agents are here. They're changing things, and the system that we have now won't work, and this is all inevitable. All right, now the real catalyst of all of this is Bitcoin plus AI. You see, when technology advances the world, it's not about a single technology. It's about multiple things coming together to give us a new set of building blocks to build things that we've never imagined. So for example, it wasn't just the automobile. If we had the automobile, we had no oil and oil fuels, we couldn't drive it. If we didn't have mass production, we couldn't make them. So we have to get these clusters of technology that come together. So really the catalyst is how Bitcoin and AI come together. Now you might be asking yourself, Mark, why Bitcoin? Why Bitcoin? Well, first of all, it's not only borderless and censorship resistant and immutable, permissionless, it's also personless, right? So again, you can't get a bank account or Venmo account without being a person, but Bitcoin is personless. The other reason, well, you might say, but what about the other 2.4 million cryptos that are out there? Because those could be personless also. Well, Bitcoin is the only one that's really energy-backed. It's an energy-backed system. Now, remember, what is the cost for AI agents to hire other AI agents? The cost of their energy. So AI is going to understand this very well. They're going to understand that one is a decentralized system that nobody can control, nobody can censor, nobody can change, and there's a true cost of input and economic energy input into it, and they're going to demand having an economic energy input money as well. We can see that it's also instant, it's borderless, and really we have to understand history and we have to understand these technology cycles. You've seen me use these charts before. Now, technology cycles, they happen about every 50 years. I call them quantum waves, and they have these 4 distinct periods that happen. Each one of these cycles has its own unique attributes. In this cycle from 2030 to 2040, which we'll be going into in the next couple of years, is really what's called the adoption or the synergy phase. Remember I talked about the S-curve before. You can see how the S-curve sort of fits over this. See that? This is the adoption wave. So this is where Bitcoin really becomes as adopted as this medium of exchange. Remember, or money I should say, is always an evolutionary process. So it starts as a collectible. It could evolve, not always, but sometimes evolves to a store of value. This is where we're at right now. In this next phase, it becomes the medium of exchange. It's where it becomes that transaction layer, and it eventually becomes what we call a unit of account. Now, a lot of people would say, well, why aren't we using Bitcoin for transactions now? Where can I go to the store and buy my groceries with it? Or why am I not buying coffee with it? All of these things. And it's, well, I would say you fail to understand history and understand monetary history specifically. Now, of course, yes, Satoshi I did say that Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. But as I just showed you, there's an evolutionary process to this that takes us, and we have to go through each stage one by one. And what I'd say is if you don't understand history, you're bound to repeat it. There's something called Gresham's Law. And that Gresham's Law is that good money drives out bad. And so what that means is that as long as there's bad money to use, I'll save the good money. So if you're like a gold bug, for example, you might know that up until 1965, in the United States, quarters and dimes were made of real silver. Now, you won't find a pre-65 quarter or dime in circulation today. You never get them. Why is that? It's because they've all been removed. Why is that? Because people want to save them. Now, if for some reason you just happened accidentally to get a pre-65 quarter or dime, would you spend it? And the answer is, of course, no, you wouldn't. You'd be ridiculous to do that. You're going to save it because you can easily spend the bad money. And so that's exactly what we're talking about here with Bitcoin. In this case, it's evolving, but as long as we can use fiat, we're going to continue to use it. But the AI agents cannot. That's what pushes the use case of this community exchange, when we can only use that instead of the other thing. Now, also, if you're in Afghanistan, you're in North Korea, maybe even you're in El Salvador, you can't afford a bank account. There are other reasons why you could use Bitcoin today, but on a whole, when we're talking about mass adoption, I believe this is the catalyst. Okay, now this all sounds really scary, right? Your job's at risk, and I mean that literally. Even if you're an entrepreneur, even if you're a doctor, high-paid professional, you're probably still at risk. So what does this mean? Well, a couple things. Number one, we got a couple years. This is happening really, really fast, but we probably have a couple years. So what does that mean? Well, I believe over the next 3-4 years, we have this massive opportunity for investment to make a lot of money. So you have a couple years to make as much money as you can, because I don't know what the world looks like on the other side of that. All right. I don't know what the economy looks like when all these get disrupted. What history shows us is that when these new technologies come out, this creative disruption happens, and it creates problems. Now, it's not forever. I'm not saying that there's no jobs for humans in the future. I don't believe that at all. I believe that AI is a tool, and as humans, we just have to learn how to use the tool. But it can cause periods of disruption. For example, in the Industrial Revolution, when everybody worked in the farm, and then we had machines that could do the work of thousands of men, what did all those thousands of men do? Well, temporarily, they didn't do anything. But eventually went on to do higher value things like science and medicine. So there's this temporary disruption, but don't worry. There's no future that I can see in the world where humans no longer have problems. As long as there's problems, there's solutions, there's services, and there's products for those things. So we have a few years. So get your money right while you can. Number two, you want to stack your skills. So if you're that gig worker and you have a skill, that's great. You know how to do the research or the copywriting. You know how to do the bookkeeping. That's great. But if you have one skill, you'll be the first to be replaced. If you have multiple skills that are stacked up, you're going to be able to buy yourself some time. It's going to be a while before these agents get so far advanced. So really learn to stack your skills up on top of themselves. The one thing I don't think the AI agents will be able to do is replace our creativity. So stack up as many skills as you can and learn how to apply them creatively to different solutions or as solutions to different problems. And then finally, stack your sats. Stack your skills and stack your sats. I'm talking about Bitcoin, of course, in this example. So we know that Bitcoin is only going up from here based off of this information, of course, if you believe it. And so you might want to be stacking your sats, and that's going to be the way that you'll be able to defend yourself against the technology that's happening. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Again, this is super exciting for me. I'm using this stuff in real life, and it is making a massive impact in my business. And you can either use it or get left behind. Let me know which one you're going to do. Use it or get left behind. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know which one. Of course, give me a thumbs up if you like the video. If you don't, you can give me a thumbs down. That's okay. But at least tell me why in the comments. And that's what I got. All right, to your success. I'm out.